Hello and welcome to CNN Business Traveller. I'm Richard Quest. This month reporting from London. I'll explain why I'm on the top of a double-decker bus in just a moment. Coming up, we're looking far into the future. 44 years since man first stepped on the moon, and space travel for tourists is soon to become a reality. Apollo 11's Buzz Aldrin is this month's road warrior, and the closest thing to space on Earth. The red double-decker bus, this icon of Britishness, has been updated for the 21st century. The new buses were rolled out on the first routes in February. Soon 600 will crisscross London, and just as all that is old is new again, so space travel, often forgotten since the heights of the Cold War, is once again taking the travel world by storm.
0, all engine running. We have a liftoff.
Now, I've bought my bus ticket. Can I buy a ride into space? Booking a trip into space is not as easy as it might sound. Visit a travel agent and there's plenty of cruises on the ocean. You can go to some tropical shores, and if you really want to go far and away, there's plenty on offer. But if you want to go far, far and away, well, you've got to look, and then you'll find it. Space. And it'll only cost you a cool $250,000. Launched to much fanfare in 2004, Virgin Galactic is the world's first real attempt at space tourism, with passenger flights hoping to start next year. The wealthy and the famous have signed up in droves. Stephen Hawking, Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Bieber, and of course, the founder, Sir Richard Branson, and his family. The thing you've now got to do is take this and actually take it to space.
Yes, absolutely. So everything is essentially tested. The aircraft is tested. The spaceship has glided many times. The big milestone that we had a couple of months ago was when we took the rocket motor, put it into the spaceship, so everything integrated for the first time, lit the rocket motor, and the spaceship went through the sound barrier. So that was a hugely significant milestone, and in many ways the last big piece of the jigsaw puzzle.
How much have you spent so far?
If I had to give you a rough ballpark figure, we're talking several $100 million.
And that's private money?
It's all private money, no government money at all.
How many seats have you actually sold?
We've sold around 640 seats.
A lot of money, so what do you get for it?
You get memories to last a lifetime, you know, a trip which is absolutely about sensory overload. Every part of this journey is going to be a little bit bigger than anything else you've ever experienced. These first space flights, from start to finish, 2.5 hours. We'll be taking you to the spaceport as the sun rises, out through the doors, across the tarmac to the waiting spaceship. Taxi out, take off in the normal way, and then a nice, long, slow climb up to 50,000 feet. At 50,000 feet, if everybody's ready to go, the spaceship is released. The pilots light the rocket motor in the back. Within 7 seconds, you're at the speed of sound. The pilots are pitching the nose straight upwards, and you are literally hurtling away from the surface of the Earth. Outside the big windows, the sky is gradually turning colour from blue through to black as you escape the atmosphere. I think the pinnacle of the experience really is that they will be floating up to one of the big windows, which we have all around the spaceship, and they'll see that life-changing view of planet Earth beneath them.
And how long will that last?
4 or 5 minutes. And then gravity takes hold of you, and the spaceship will start to be pulled back towards Earth. And those rotated wings act as giant air brakes to make sure that you just slow very, very safely without any heat build-up. You're going to have a spectacular glide all the way back down to the spaceport, where we'll be waiting with your astronaut wings and a glass of champagne.
I'm guessing that when it comes to selling this, it basically sells itself.
This, at the moment, is clearly not something that everybody can afford. Some may even have, remortgaged the house or whatever in order to do it.
And that's the question. When will the man or woman on the street get to look in?
$250,000 a ticket. We are around 1% of the price that you would need to have paid in order to go to space as a private citizen before now. But I think we can do better, but we will only be, we'll be responding to market conditions, and, and hopefully there'll be a large, thriving, vibrant industry, which will make it possible for most people to go to space in my lifetime anyway.
To the critics who say it's suborbital, that it's not really going into space, what would you say to them?
I'd say it is really going to space. Because it is. We will be, we'll be aiming for a space altitude, however you define that. I think the thing that people are talking about is that, you're not spending a fortnight in space. But it's a vital first step. We have to show that you can take ordinary people to space regularly, safely, give them a great time, and do it in a commercially viable framework. And if we can do that, then I think we're going to be able to move to orbital trips. Maybe we'll be going to the moon. Maybe we'll be traveling from London to Australia via space. All those things are important, but you have to get the first step right.
A few minutes of weightlessness and looking down on planet Earth. That's what Virgin Galactic is selling. One man who's experienced much more than that is the astronaut Buzz Aldrin. He went up there, got off the spacecraft and walked on the moon. And now, when he travels around the Earth, he knows exactly the right way to do it.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Space. The final frontier. To most. But for former American astronaut Buzz Aldrin, it was the first step in a long journey. More than 40 years since he and fellow astronaut Neil Armstrong were the first humans to walk on the moon, Buzz has seen almost every corner of the globe.
Buzz, hey. Philippe Cousteau, very nice to meet you.
We caught up with the legendary spaceman in Washington, D.C., where he's meeting with U.S. government officials about the future of the country's space program and how to make space more accessible to everyday people.
The government has driven space exploration for a long time, but you're starting to see the rise of space tourism.
Tourism, yeah.
Do you think that's a viable?
Absolutely.
Virgin Galactic?
Virgin Galactic wants to call its passengers astronauts.
But they're not.
I'm searching for a different term than astronaut. So 100 kilometers, 62 miles is what? It's space. Why is it space? Because Richard Branson said it was space. Okay? It's dark. Nothing will stay in orbit at 62 miles. You got to get 100 or 150.
Sparking interest in space exploration and granting civilians access to lunar travel has been Buzz's mission for years.
My hope for the future is based on USS Enterprise to boldly go where man's not been before, orbiting Mars and landing on Mars, off in the future.
Even for the man who's logged more than 280 hours in space and has literally seen the world, the inconveniences of earthly travel can still get to him.
So do you spend most of your time on the road?
Unfortunately, yeah.
What do you think is your biggest travel pet peeve?
It didn't take a second. TSA. I'm over 75, obviously, so I don't have to take out my shoes. But I get so irritated at taking a belt off.
What's worse, space food or airplane food?
First class and business class is pretty good.
So space food is worse than airplane food?
Yeah, you go into a museum and you can buy a little space ice cream.
But when he's circling the globe in a plane and not a rocket, there's one thing he can't leave without.
This is my man purse, MERS.
Your MERS, okay.
Yeah. Hairspray, hand washer, toothbrush, mouthwash, a bunch of
I see some plugs and adapters in there.
Oh yeah,
of course,
yeah, I got to have everything.
International traveler. Where haven't you been?
I haven't been to the South Pole. I've been to the North Pole, been to the Titanic, been to the moon, but I haven't been to the South Pole.
Coming up, the future of flying, with no pilot, from passenger planes to jetpacks.
This is flying!